You're being pulled in all directions by notifications, deadlines, and an endless to-do list. But what if there was a time-honored way to block out the distractions, sharpen your focus, and begin achieving your objectives? I'll demonstrate in this video how to use the Lotus Method, which has its roots in Eastern philosophy, to turn your jumbled thoughts into a focused, clear, and peaceful way of thinking. You might never be able to escape distraction if you miss this. But keep an eye on things and start making changes in your life right now. First section, Leo's battle with opposition. Like you, Leo has a lot of potential. He has definite objectives and lofty aspirations. He aspires to improve his personal life, succeed professionally, and get in shape. However, something stops him each time he tries to act. It isn't that Leo isn't driven. He reads self-improvement books, watches inspirational videos, and listens to podcasts. His mind, however, resists in spite of everything. Instead of working toward his objectives, he finds himself browsing through his phone when it's time to take action. His mind always pushes him in the direction of something easier or more comfortable when he intends to begin something significant. He is caught in a vicious cycle of self-doubt and procrastination. What's the worst? Despite knowing exactly what is going on, he is unable to escape. It's not just a Leo issue. It applies to everyone. It's the mind's method of avoiding discomfort whenever we encounter a difficult or strange task. Here the mind turns to games, social media, and even daydreaming for solace and diversions. No matter how much inspirational material he consumes, Leo feels as though he is fighting against himself, and it never lasts. He's beginning to see that he needs something more substantial than ephemeral motivation. The mind is frequently compared to a wild monkey in Eastern philosophy, leaping from one idea or diversion to the next, while avoiding anything challenging or uncomfortable. According to a quote from the Buddha, your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts. Leo is experiencing precisely this. He is being undermined by his own thoughts, which are continuously dragging him away from his true desires and toward what is convenient at the time. Understanding this struggle, ancient monks devised techniques to calm, focus, and clarify the mind. The human condition is what Leo is going through. The mind is inherently resistant to difficulties. It favors security and comfort. However, Eastern teachings, particularly those that inform the Lotus Method, demonstrate that using force to overcome this resistance is not appropriate. Rather, awareness is the first step. Because the mind tries to shield us from discomfort, it resists. It is possible to change this dynamic, though. The key is awareness. Leo can stop being so hard on himself once he realizes that his mind is set up to avoid discomfort. The Lotus Method begins with this lesson. You must comprehend it before attempting to alter it. Second part, accepting life's flow. Leo understands that his previous strategies of pushing through resistance and making himself work harder aren't working. Thus, he begins to seek out more profound wisdom. He discovers the teachings of Ren, the ancient Taoist philosopher, at that point. Ren discusses Wu Wei, the idea of non-resistance, which is the skill of navigating life with it rather than resisting it. Leo finds great resonance in one of Ren's lessons. By letting it go, it all gets done. He is initially perplexed by this. In what ways can letting go result in achieving things? However, the more he thinks about it, the more he realizes that perhaps he has been struggling so much because he has been fighting against life, against his will. Leo begins to ponder. What if using brute force wasn't the only way to accomplish difficult tasks? What if there was a method for dealing with his difficulties that didn't involve ongoing opposition? Based on this Eastern philosophy, the Lotus Method proposes that perhaps the answer lies not in fighting harder but in ceasing to fight altogether. To discover the effort's natural flow. In today's world, Wu Wei teaches something that seems counterintuitive, that we can actually do more if we choose to go with life's flow rather than fight against it. It is not about surrendering. Passivity isn't the point. The goal is to move in harmony with life's inherent rhythms. Life pushes back when we push too hard. However, we proceed with less effort when we align ourselves with the current of life. Leo starts to realize that trying to force his mind to work harder all the time just makes it fight back. He discovers that he can work on challenging tasks without resisting them by adopting this age-old Taoist wisdom. He begins to see difficult tasks as a part of the flow rather than as enemies. Part 3. Learning to be still and reflect. Now that he knows, Leo no longer struggles with his thoughts. However, the Lotus Method requires one more crucial step: stillness and reflection. We are constantly surrounded by distractions in the modern world. Stillness, however, is viewed as a superpower in ancient traditions. The mind is not designed to be stimulated all the time. It requires quiet time to think, process, and refocus. Monks spend hours in silent meditation for this reason. It's about making room for deep clarity, not just about unwinding. Leo makes the bold decision to try something new. He dedicates 10 minutes a day to total silence rather than cramming every free moment with noise or entertainment. No phone, no music, nothing but silence. It's uncomfortable at first. His thoughts are racing. He is agitated. However, after a few days, a change occurs. The clutter in the mind begins to disappear. He has lighter thoughts. He begins to make choices more easily. The Lotus Method concludes with this lesson: silence isn't empty. It has all the answers. Last point to remember: Leo never forced himself to put in more effort on his journey. It was about knowing his mind, allowing space for stillness, and flowing with life rather than against it. And his productivity soared after he took that action. His objectives no longer overpowering. His attention sharper than before. What's the best part? He no longer struggles with himself. Thus, keep in mind the Lotus Method next time your mind resists. Awareness: recognize that your mind fights against discomfort. Don't resist. Look at it. 2. Flow: reduce your exertion. Don't fight your mind, instead work with it. 3. Stillness: make room for quiet. That is the source of true clarity. Once you have mastered these 3 steps, you will no longer be controlled by distraction. For the simple reason that your mind is not your enemy. All you have to do is figure out how to use it.